all this fit throwing, and I don't like the outcome of this, so I'm going to throw a fit. And there wasn't all that going on, man. But for some reason, man, people in my generation started raising their kids that there's just not consequences for anything, and man, hell is breaking loose right before our eyes.
Well, and it's true that even on my side, where I believe me, every kid I got, I whipped their ass. Did it almost on a daily basis. All of them know the good value of the dollar. They all know how to work for it very well. They all have great work ethic. They're all set in their careers. I mean, my youngest one is headed to Washington, D.C. this summer for an internship with the EPA. I mean, dadgum. I steered my kids in the right direction, I do believe. However, that generation deal even caught them as well. I was proud that my kids were not snowflakes, and turned out I just needed to clean my glasses. So, even with the best of intentions, the other sheep out there will get the rest of the sheep's attention. So, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, it happens. I mean, I guarantee you, I mean, my son thinks about things way more left than I ever have or will. But it's like you said, it's a generational thing. I do think my son understands, for the most part, consequences and benefits. He's a lot like me. He's had to learn a lot of lessons. But I mean, I think he's finally reached a point at 25 that he's starting to realize. And I hope he is, man, because if he's learning that lesson at 25, that's a lesson I wish I would have learned at 20.
When you were his age, you were working. Well, you were in a career and you had a kid.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing you and I were talking about. I mean, life for me at 25 was way different than it is for him. And I think that most parents of my generation probably can look back and say that. Like, life for them was different a lot younger than it was for some of these cats today, man.
Yeah, I mean, responsibilities.
Well, I think that goes back to, like I said, people of my generation raised a generation of kids that didn't have to deal with consequences. Part of that is not giving them any responsibility to live up to, I mean, you probably knew kids like that when you were growing up. Like I had to toe the line. I had certain expectations I had to meet, but I knew that one kid, man, he could just do anything would do whatever the hell he wanted.
Yeah. And
there was nothing. I mean,
it was usually the rich kid.
Yeah. Okay. When I went to private school, so I went to school with a few rich kids, but I mean, there was no consequences to anything they did. And none of them had any responsibility to live up to. I'm like, and I used to think, man, that would be the life. But from what I know, the majority of them have had problems all through their adult life,
Yeah.
Substance abuse, legal problems. Like, I mean, they didn't learn responsibility and expectations and consequences. And unfortunately, man, like I said, that my generation, that we've raised a whole nother generation of kids that's how they are. They don't know anything about it.
What's sad, and it's just something that we want everybody to really consciously think about. If you're going to try to push yourself to a level of success that you've never known, there's lots of decisions that you're going to make along the way that will have consequences in one way, shape, or form. And some consequences, sometimes you have to make decisions that do have consequences, and you have to weigh out those consequences, especially if you're trying to be successful. If something's not going well in the business and you're with a partner and you need to maybe drop that partner, well, that's going to have consequences. But is that good for your business as a business move? Well, sure, probably so. So, even then, you're going to be making decisions that affect your business that will have consequences. So don't think for a minute that you can steer clear of any major decisions that have consequences so that your business just goes straight to the top. There's going to be those hard questions that come up in business. We've already seen it with us. Do we incorporate or do we LLC? Well, there's advantages to incorporation. There's advantage to LLC, and accepting one or the other, there may be a consequence that's unforeseen because we accepted one or the other.
Well, and it's easy to relate this stuff to business, but I mean, these are lessons that you can just take to any area of your life. put them into play and get some kind of benefit from them. I mean, you guys got to, everybody's got to understand, like, it's, if you don't take the time to methodically think about things and you start making snap decisions and you start making emotional decisions, are you prepared to deal with the consequences of that? If it starts costing you relationships with loved ones, if it starts impeding, your progress and getting promotions at jobs, I mean, your family's the biggest one, man. You could make a decision out of anger or frustration or, any emotion you can think of. If you make a snap decision out of that in your personal life, I mean, sometimes those decisions, man, they reach out and they start touching family members. And then pretty soon, you hear you're not welcome at Aunt so-and-so's house, or, your kids are disappointed in you or something like that, like, man, I don't know, man. I think that to learn to methodically think about things and decisions I make, I think that has been the longest. That lesson has been the longest one for me to learn, because I definitely flew by the seat of my pants when I was in my 20s and 30s. And I definitely paid some huge consequences.
Well, case in point, I have a friend of mine that works for the federal government, and he recently sleeved out on one of his arms down to his hand, not thinking about it, not realizing that he could not go into a management position working for the government having tattoos that are exposed. So having that tattoo on his hand, albeit that tattoo is definitely worth something to him, and there's a memory to it. The consequence is he's probably never going to make management because of it. And it's sad to say, because I love tattoos. You love tattoos. But even something simple as a tattoo can have consequences.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, on that note, man, I hope those days are down. Maybe we're dealing with here, but at least for the way it is right now, it's still that stigma about people that are heavily tattooed. I mean,
yeah,
you're right. Like, a decision that dude made, and probably put a lot of thought behind it, but he didn't put enough. Like, totally stopped him in his tracks of his professional career. That sucks, man.
Yeah, it does, because he's topped out when it comes to the pay scale that he's at. He can go no higher without going into management, and it sucks, and he regrets it now. But it's a choice that he made, and bless his heart, he's fine with it now. But it shook him pretty hard for a little while to think that there was still that stigma out there, and it's something that he did not even know existed.
That's a rough one, dude.
Yeah. It's not like he put the middle finger up to it and said, screw it, I'm going to do it anyways. He didn't know that existed until afterwards.
Ouch.
Now, had he said something to the management there, they'd probably told him right off the bat, hey,
not a good idea.
You don't want to do that, and here's why.
Well, I mean, yeah, sometimes stuff can't be avoided. Sometimes it bites you like that. That sucks.
Sure, and like you said, I hate the stigma still. Some of the coolest, nicest people I know are sleeved out all the way to their hands, including you.
Well, thank you, sir.
I got a veteran buddy of mine, works for the VA, also plays guitar with a band in Tulsa who's sleeved out, and again, coolest cat out there, and would help anybody. I even think he'd remove his shirt.
Oh, see, you keep going back to Matthew McConaughey?
I do, and that's all right. But just be careful. Keep a mindful eye in life, because consequences sometimes are okay, and consequences sometimes suck really bad. So with everything that we've kind of taught you as far as doing epic shit, maybe don't be so epic that you forget about some consequences.
Well, just be very methodical in your epicness,
Methodical epicness.
Yeah, you've got to be very methodical in achieving anything epic.
Methodical epicness.
That's a good name for a band.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, welcome to the stage, Methodical Epicness. Yeah, maybe not so much.
I'm digging it. I think I'll make some cool t-shirts.
Methodical. We're in a band. Just invite everybody to come see us.
That should be our cover. That should be our cover from now on. We're
A cover band.
Yeah. A cover band is our cover. Speaking of covers, dude, I'm totally re-obsessed with The Americans. Did you ever watch that series?
With the what?
The Americans?
No.
Dude, that's a rabbit hole I need to go down to see like how much of that was really going on in the 80s. But the premise of the show is there's a quote-unquote American couple. I mean, 2.2 kids, the picket fence, the whole bit. But in reality, they are deep operatives for the KGB. I can't believe you never watched that series.
No.
It's on Amazon Prime, dude. It's got Carrie Russell in it. Carrie Russell's beautiful, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's so pretty. But, yeah, I can't remember that dude's name. But, I figured that's right up your alley, dude. The Americans, you would dig that series.
I tell you what, a night with Miss Russell would have consequences for sure.
Man, she is gorgeous. God, she's pretty.
Crud. Yeah, I'm going to have to watch that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's on Prime. I ran across it the other day. There's only 5 seasons of it, but man, it's a good show.
I'm looking forward to Yellowstone.
Oh, that's another good series, dude. My parents turned me on to that one. That's a great series.
Yeah, that's a killer series. I forget what channel it was on. I think it was Paramount Network.
Isn't that the old Spike Network?
Yeah.
Isn't that who that is?
Yeah. And you know, it's amazing that Spike Network, we've come a long way from the Man Show.
Man, you ain't. Can you imagine if that was on?
Yeah. Back in the days when you didn't give a shit about political correctness.
Dude, one of the best bits they did on the Man Show is when they would dress up like airline pilots and go sit in airport bars and act like they were drunk and they were going to fly a plane somewhere. I thought that was so damn funny, man.
I just dug it for the girls on trampolines.
Of course you did. I forgot about that. That was the closing of every show, wasn't it?
Yeah. Speaking of closing of shows.
Yes, sir?
It's time for us to go.
Is it that time?
Donnie's shaking his head yes. He kept,
all right, Donnie.
He kept pointing toward the fictional watch that's not on his wrist.
Hey, when's that going to turn into somebody like pointing at their phone? Nobody wears well, I don't know. I'm not going to say that. Watches are kind of coming back.
Yeah, everybody wears them deadgum Apple watches now, so they don't have to carry their phone.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it's like, I don't want to pull my phone out of my pocket. Here, I'll just look at my watch.
Right?
You know?
But, okay, Donnie, calm down. Jesus.
All right, everybody. My name is Big Tiddy. I will see you later. Love you. Bye.
And you guys get out there and kick the day in the ass and leave your mark on the world. Shiner out.
This podcast sucks.